at all. Okay, I don't think you should worry about taking notes or anything else. Like these are all getting recorded. You will get to watch start to end everything. Okay, start to end everything you can get to watch. All right, I have 2 more minutes to wait, and then we can good to go. Tipash, I want you to respond to my email. So you haven't responded to my email at all. Just I want you to take some time to respond today. Okay, Tipash. Hey, Tipash, are you there? Okay, just 1 more minute, then we'll start actually. I'm just wanted to give them some time, then we can go ahead and get started actually. But again, my intention for today, it's not spending a whole lot of time. A lot of people are not sure, right, how the things works with me. Just want to make sure actually I address the problem instead of me talking one by one. Talk to them all in the one call so that everybody will clear. Okay, so that's the intention of this session today. It's really not about teaching 2 long hours. Just wanted to give an idea overall how things work and what you're going to learn. Okay, all right. With that, I'm going to move on. If you look at the agenda, I would like to spend some time about the course content and how does the learning roadmap is going to look. And in terms of live systems, right, what system that you're going to use. Okay, let's take a look at the system itself. And then we do need to understand there are so many pieces involved, right? Like if you look at BI for all, there are so many things involved. So we need to understand what the product all about and where that fits into SAP. Because if you look at outside, the people who know BOBJ, there is a lot of people out there. Okay, a lot of people out there who know BOBJ bits and pieces, right? Someone knows Excelsior, someone knows Crystal, someone knows Webby, somebody knows all three. You see a lot of people. But the challenge is they don't know how it works in an SAP platform. That's the issue, right? That's the issue. So we do need to really understand where actually this fits into in an SAP landscape, okay? Where actually this fits into an SAP landscape. So that is definitely something I would encourage you to understand. That's the biggest challenge, okay? People know how to build a simple dashboard. People know how to build an Excel a query or report, etc. But how do we bring controlling and profitability analysis data, COPA data, or a payroll information, or a supply chain information, right? How do we do spend analytics by using BOBJ? That is the challenge. That is where the real value of a BOBJ consultant from SAP point of view, okay? Not talking about a non-SAP point of view. So we do need to understand that, okay? So that's something that now we are going to spend some time to get to know where BOBJ fits in the big picture. Next is the technical architecture, right? How these are all communicated, right? Now we talked about SAP ECC, SAP BW, SAP BOBJ, where we have so many different tools and components, how these are all going to fit as a technically architectural level. The next is what kind of solution we are going to build out of it, okay? And the last point, there are so many talk around Hana, okay? How does Hana is going to come and fit in this whole game, okay? So that's the last point, then the closing comments, okay? So I'm targeting around 2 hours. Let's see how it goes, okay? I have another engagement. I can continue beyond that point. So whatever that we leave, that point we have to continue the next class, okay? But this is what I have in my mind to just bring you all up to speed to get to know more about what you're going to learn. All right, the first one, course overview, okay? I did send out a PDF file where it talked about 9 different units that what we are going to cover, okay? So those are the 9 different units we are going to focus. And that 9 units will be delivered over a period of, okay, I'm talking about the course overview, okay. So if you look at a PDF file that what was sent to you, so there are about 9 different units, okay, just a second. So total 9 units, So check your PDF file. So I send out a PDF file. Okay, that's the course content, which I'm talking about. Course content. So total 9 units. Okay, 9 units we have. This 9 units will be delivered about 140 hours, and it's only on Saturday. Okay, only on Saturday. Okay, so Saturday, as usual, we have class at 7:30 a.m. PST. Okay, with the duration of 7 to 8 hours. Okay, with the duration of 7 to 8 hours. So the reason I can teach weekdays, I'm in a full-time job, so I cannot teach in the weekdays. That's ruled out. And I do in a travel job, so it's going to make life a little more difficult. The next, I do have another BPC class, which is on Sunday. So it's going to be very tough for me to teach both the days. It's going to be only on Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, 7 to 8 hours total duration. Okay, total duration. So that's basically what it is. So how does the 9 unit has been organized? Okay, so the 9 unit been organized as follows. Okay, before I go to the 9 units, what I wanted to show you, right? I wanted to show you why did I split this into 9 different units. Okay, let me first list out that, then we can go for this one. So the very first one, so what we need to understand, financial fundamentals. Okay, financial, okay, I would call business. Okay, business drivers. So in our case, we are taking finance. Okay, in our case, we are taking finance as an example. So we do need to know the basics about finance, correct? If someone talking you about an income statement or a cash flow, balance sheet, correct, whatever that is, we should be in a position to understand what that is. Okay, so what I'm talking about, if you have been asked to build a dashboard, okay, and you are building a dashboard, finance, income statement, correct? I'm building a dashboard as an income statement. I should be in a position to understand what exactly, not just creating a dashboard, not just looking at a fancy graphical view of a data, okay? I should be in a position to understand what exactly they're talking about. What is planned? What is actual? What is the variance? What's the budget, right? I do need to know this one, okay? Sorry, I'm not in a preview mode. So I do need to know this one. So point is, we do need to have enough understanding on the business side, right? So that's the unit number 1, which very much going to talk about the business drivers. In this case, we are taking finance. It could be sales, okay? It could be sales, or it could be supply chain management, okay? Or it could be human resource management, etc. Who knows what it is, okay? Who knows what it is? It could be any one of those. So that's the unit. It's like, first unit we are going to talk about this one. So if you look at, this is basically a financial statement, an income statement, correct? It's letting you to analyze the data in the graphically, correct? You no need to run a query, okay? You no need to run a query. You can just analyze the data on multiple different views, okay? I'm looking at a monthly view. I can also change this back to quarterly view. I can also change this back to yearly view, right? So see this one, it's a graphical view, but behind the scenes, there are a lot of work has been done. Behind the scenes, there are a lot of things have been done, right? Don't learn just the tool, okay? The tool is a tool. It's not going to help you much about it, right? If you learn the tool, you will become use and throw. People will use you and throw you, right? That's it, right? So whenever there's a need to come and build this one, you will come and build it, and after that, you are done deal, okay? You don't have any value to business. So going back to my topic, the first one, which is going to be understand the business drivers, okay? Understand the business drivers. The second one is, all right, I understood the business needs and business drivers. How do we solve this one? I need to know the BI tools, okay? Then understand BI 4.0 fundamentals, okay? Fundamentals. So I do need to know the BI 4.0 fundamentals, okay? I have to understand the BI 4.0 fundamentals. That's the second unit that we're talking about. Next one is, once we've done this firstly, how do we model a problem, okay? Data model, okay? So this is basically problem modeling based on the business driver, okay? Based on the business driver, business drivers. So whatever the business that we are going to pick, in our case, it's going to be finance, okay? In our case, it's going to be finance. So how do we take the problem into a modeling approach, right? And this is where you build the actual cubes, okay? Actual cubes and universes, okay? Universe, I'm just giving you an idea, okay? Next one is, how do we take to the next step what the user wanted? The user might be wanted to see in terms of maybe query or a report, okay? Query or a report. What these tools are, we are going to look at it. Manoj is going to go and show you each of those tools with some examples. The next one is, sorry. So once we've done this one, actually, then we need to understand, how do we create a structured format report, okay? That was flow report all about. Okay. Then we are going to talk about dashboards. How do we build this one dashboard? How do we take to the users, right? So that's basically BA Launchpad. Okay. BA Launchpad. Okay. So that's another tool that we are going to focus on actually, right? So BA Launchpad. So these basically how the units are structured actually. So once we done this one actually, okay. The next step would be what is that it takes for me to control the user access from the deployment point of view, correct? So we all built this one. Then we need to understand security and deployment, okay? Security and deployment, user access, correct? Need to be deployed to the user, correct? User access, okay? User access and security, okay? User access and security. So that is the next topic we are going to talk about it, okay? And then finally, if somebody is serious, if somebody is really interested, how do we get certified in this space? Okay, SAP certification. Okay, SAP certification. So this is very much what we cover. Okay, this is very much what we cover actually. I am unable to view your desktop. You have to join to the no. You should be able to see. Yeah, I can see you online, Abhijit. Okay, Abhilash. Sorry, I can see you online. I'm just trying to respond to an email, a chat message for Abhilash. You should be able to see my desktop because I can see you online. You are online. Okay, you are online actually. So make sure actually, I'm not sure what the issue is, but you should be able to see. Okay, you should be able to see because I'm seeing you online. Anyone who's online, they should be able to see me. Okay. In case if it's not, don't worry. You have the recordings to watch actually. That's fine. No worries. But try to figure this out. I can see you online, and you should be able to see me. There shouldn't be any problem. Okay. So the units are divided as follows, right? This is what we are going to study, okay? What is the business driver to do this? And the next one is BA 4.0 fundamentals, data model, Webby, Crystal, dashboard, BA Launchpad, user access and security, and certification, okay? All right. So these are the units we are going to cover this one. Next, going back to this one, what you're looking at here, okay? What you're looking at here is just a dashboard. Okay? There could be several dashboards you can do. Okay, there could be several dashboards you can do. Okay, so this is just basically one of them. So you can also build the balance sheet too. It's not just only for these guys, but what it takes to build something like this. Okay, what it takes to build something like this. Right? So what you're looking at, it is not like an income statement. It's a balance sheet. Right? So how do we read this one? Okay, how do we read this one? And what it takes to build something like this. Right? Let's take a look at it. Then ties this back to what the course is offering so that you will understand how it works. Right? All right. So this is basically, financial side of it. It's not only finance. You can also look at the sales. Okay. So I told you sales by supply chain. Okay. So this is basically a supply chain dashboards where it talks about sales. And specifically talks about sales. So it could be any function. It's not just only finance. So it could be any functions, right? So it could be any function. It could be, as I told you, sales or finance or human resource, whatever. It could be any of those. So let's understand behind the scenes what it takes to get things done or what it takes to build something like this. Okay, 1 minute. So just a second. See this one? These are all different functions you can perform. Okay, these are all different functions you can perform. Again, it is not about how do we see this one? It's about how do we build this one. Okay, end to end. All right. So if you look at here, correct? These are all dashboards interactively works with you. Okay, it's interactively works with you. It's not something that hard-coded one. It's a very interactive. It works with you the way you like. Okay, based on how it has been built. 1 second. Okay, he can analyze data by region, by country, by state, by city. Correct? See this one? See this one? So these are all basically business drivers. Business says I want to see, correct? In a specific region, correct? I'm selecting this region, Missouri. Then I'm going and looking at data. Okay, I'm going and looking at data by product, by service line, or by customer, whatever that is. I can see this one. Right? So now, typically, how things are built. Okay, how things are built. I'm just going to take almost 2 more minutes, then I'll hand over to other folks. So how things are built here, actually. Okay, so how things are built here. If you look at whatever we do here, right, they primarily follows the pattern. Okay, so what you're looking at the top, it's the business drivers. Okay, business drivers. Okay, business drivers, which drives the business needs. Right? So one of the example, sales by region. Okay, one of the example, sales by region. Okay, income statement. Okay, income statement, balance sheet. So these are all some of the business drivers examples. All right, which drives the business to look at the data much deeper and closer. All right, what is the next one? Once we know what the business driver is, then how do we bring to the users? Then I am looking for BI tools. Okay, then I'm looking for BI tools. The next thing is BI tools. Okay, after this, you need to know BI 4.0 tools. What tool that I will be using for this purpose? Okay, so the tools could be any one of those. It's based on need. I cannot randomly pick the tool, correct? If somebody is asking for a dashboard, then I will be using dashboard. If someone is looking for a formatted report, then I'll be using crystal report. If somebody is looking for, I don't need any dashboard, I don't need any formatted report, I just need to analyze the data, then use a webby. Okay, so here we are talking about different BI tools. Okay, so different BI tools could be, as I told you, it could be dashboard. Okay, it could be a dashboard, or it could be crystal. Okay, or it could be crystal, or it could be webby. Okay, or it could be webby. Or it could be like, OLAP analysis, okay? OLAP analysis, or it could be Explorer, okay? So it could be any of those tools, okay? It could be any of those tools. So that's the second thing, right? So what it's driving actually, the very first is business driver. The next one is we are going to basically look for what kind of tool that we are using to take this to the user, right? So that's the business, after business drivers, we need to know the tool that is going to be used. Next is, how do I access the information? Okay, how do I access the information? And that's basically the next level, which is access. Okay, you can access the information by using different mechanisms. You can directly access, or you can use abstract semantic layer. Okay, the next is access, information access. Okay, information access. How do you access this one? And behind the scenes, okay, you will be using either direct access or by using semantic layers, right? Like universe. So it could be a direct access, okay, direct access, or it could be a semantic layer such as universe, okay. You could use universe to access information. All right, what is the next one? So once I know this one, and who's going to provide the information? Next is the info provider, okay, information provider. So next level is going to be information provider, okay, information providers. Who provides information? So who that would be? That could be, okay, this could be SAP Hana. It could be RapidMart, okay? It could be RapidMart, etc. So these kind of things, like it could be SAP BW InfoCubes, okay? SAP BW InfoCubes. So, or it could be SAP BW BEXCORY, okay? SAP BW BEXCORY, okay? SAP BW BEXCORY. So it could be BEXCORY. So these are all information providers who could provide information. What is the last point? The last point is data. The last point is data. So point what I'm trying to make, the fancy report, what it looks at, it has all the things built in. The last one is data provider. Okay? Data provider. Who could provide the data? The data could come from an ERP system, okay, like SAP ERP. It could be SAP ECC, or it could be SAP SCM, or it could be SAP HCM, or it could be Oracle, okay, or it could be PeopleSoft, or it could be JD Edwards, okay, who knows where this is, okay, or it could be File, or it could be IBM, or it could be mainframe stuff, okay. So these are all data providers. So point to what you need to understand, how actually informations are brought into the users, okay. So if you look at the users are sitting on the top, okay, the users are sitting on the top. So they say, I want either a dashboard or whatever, right? So that's the number one. So from there, you go and choose the tools. Okay. Number two, choose what tool you wanted. Okay. Number two, the tool selection. I need to select what tool I wanted actually. Okay. Which tool is going to fit for the users? That's the second one. Okay. The second selection should be what tool. Then once I know, how do we read that information which is required by the user? Okay. That's the third step. Once I know this one, okay, then I need to know who's going to provide the information for this. Okay. That's the fourth one. As I told you, it could be SAP Hana, okay, it could be SAP Hana, or it could be RapidMart, it could be BW InfoCube, or it could be BEXCORY, or it could be whatever, right? So whatever it comes from, okay. So the next one is who's going to provide data for this one, okay. Keep in mind, so BEXCORY does not store a data, okay. BEXCORY is just an interface, all right. Someone somewhere has to provide the data. So these are the different building blocks behind the scenes will let you build this kind of reports, okay. So what you're looking at, just only the front end. The point what I'm trying to make you understand, just don't learn the front end. You will become useless. Okay? It's going to become use and throw. So people will use you and throw you. Learn end-to-end everything, whatever required. And this is what we teach. Okay? This is what we teach. So understand the business drivers. Understand the tool selection. Understand, like, how do we get the information? Okay? Building universe. Okay? So that's why if you look at, like, on the top, all the tools are listed. Okay? All the tools are listed. Okay? So no matter what you want to learn, but if you don't follow this approach, if you just go ahead and learn the tool, you will become a tool savvy. People will use and throw you. It does not have any value to you. Okay? So this is what our learning roadmap is going to look like. Okay? How does our learning roadmap is going to look like? This is how it's going to look like. Okay? So in terms of learning point of view, what exactly I'm learning, this is what I'm learning. Okay? This is what I'm going to learn actually. And this is what industry is looking for. Right? So when I talk to people, okay, when people approach this for, like, any new requirement, anybody who wants to, like, be hired, so they ask for all the skill sets, right? They ask for all the skill sets. I'm not saying tool people are not required, very rare. Okay, so someone who just knows the tools, they can come and do stuff, it's very rare. But anyway, I don't want to keep repeating the same thing. This is your learning roadmap. Okay, learning roadmap. Okay, learning roadmap. So what exactly we are going to learn in the class? All right. The next one, there are so much out there. Okay, there's so much out there. How do I pick what I need to learn? Okay, that is a question a lot of people are asking me. Okay, please let me know where the data service fits into. So data services. Okay, how do we bring the data? Okay, so data services in this case, if you notice, like in this flow, where the data service is going to come into picture, right? So I need to bring data from here to here. Okay. I need to bring the data from here to here. Okay, this is where your data service is going to come into picture, right? So these are all info providers who's going to provide information. Okay, use your data services. Okay, use your data services, which is going to cover in the class, Mr. Veno. So it's not that something that, like, we don't want to cover. We're going to talk about in the class actually, so it's going to come. But I just want to give a logical view what you're going to learn actually, so that you get to know exactly what you're going to learn in the class. Right? So this is basically, like, the overall learning roadmap, how you're going to learn this one. So since Venu asked me a question, I'm just telling him that where data service is going to come into picture. To bring the data from an ERP system or whatever the system into the repository, okay, information provider. The information provider is the repository. So that's going to come through data services, okay? All right. The next one, there are so many questions people ask me. There is lot of tools out there. How do we basically learn all of them? Okay. I won't take too much time. Okay, I will just run through real quick. So basically what I'm trying to say, okay, so if you look at what I told you, this is what it is. Okay, what I told you, this is what it is. If you are going out and say, I'm a BI consultant or I'm a BO consultant, this is what industry expects, not a tool people. Okay, a lot of people who I know in the market say I'm a BA consultant, a BO consultant. I have no idea what that means, right? Until unless you know at this level of detail, you have no way of surviving for a long time. Okay, we really need to know this one. Okay, for example, enterprise reporting, self-service reporting, data visualization, analysis, search and exploration. Okay, these are the business drivers. Business want to know how do we see data visually, right? See this one, this is a visual analysis. Okay, it's nothing about, like, text, correct? It's all visual analysis, correct? I'm picking a region, analyzing data. Okay, I'm picking a region, analyzing data. So this is a visual analysis. If this is what business wanted, okay, that's a data visualization. What BI tool I should be using? Okay, I could use the dashboard. How do we get data? I can directly read or I can use an universe. Okay, all right. And how do we get this information into the semantic layer? That's an information provider. Okay, it could be any of these guys. Okay, it could be any of these guys, and this is where Hana comes into picture. Right? So a lot of people think Hana means, like, oh, it's something like, I should know Hana right away. Right? Knowing Hana, you don't have much value. You should know how do we build an end-to-end solution. That's where your value comes into picture. All right. How all this Hana and everything is going to get data? It's going to come from SAP, ERP, Oracle, whatever this one. Okay? So when you say, in my mind, at least for me, when you say I'm a BO consultant, you should know all of them. Okay? You should know all of them end-to-end. If you miss any one of them, I wouldn't call them as a consultant. You know some part of the tool. Okay? You know some part of the tool, and that's what we teach in the class. Okay? So what we teach, a role that expect a role that is expected by you to play in an implementation. When you go for an implementation, the implementation expects you to play either a solution consultant or a solution architect, whatever you call. That is the role you learn in the class, and that's exactly I told you. This is a learning roadmap. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to address my other problem. This is the most common question get I from a lot of people. Okay. Some of the people who's already in my BPC class, some of the people who spoke to me, so they had this confusion. Right? All right, there are so many tools out there. How do we start? Where do we learn? What do we focus? Right? Etc. So let's just spend some time and understand. Okay. So if you look at Microsoft Office, okay, what do you think? Microsoft Office, correct? See this one? It's a product group. Okay. It is a product group. Underneath you have several different products. Okay. Underneath you have several different products. It's a product group. Underneath you have Excel, Word, PowerPoint, etc. Same with SAP too. Okay. So what SAP has done right now, they brought under BOBJ so many different products. Okay. So BO 4.0. Underneath what SAP has done, they brought so many different products. Okay. But how it has been grouped, it's grouped by functions. Okay. So one is BI tools. So whatever, okay, again, this is just basically a conceptual view of how SAP grouping this one. Then EIM tools. Okay. Then EPM tools. Okay. EPM tools. So under BI, under BO 4.0, the tools are again regrouped further based on its function. Okay. Based on its function. So BI tool, it's a business intelligence tool. Correct? Okay. Business intelligence tools. So this is basically business intelligence tool. So this is a business intelligence tool, correct? The BI tools are business intelligence tools. All right. Then you have EIM, Enterprise Information Management Tool. Okay. Underneath you have EIM tools. Okay. So then SAP further groups this into Enterprise Information Management Tool. Okay. Enterprise Information Management Tools. So that's the second subgroup under BO. The next one is EPM, Enterprise Performance Management Tool. Okay, Enterprise Performance. Okay, Enterprise Performance Management Tool. Okay, Enterprise Performance. So this is the third subgroup which comes under BO. Okay, so basically these are business functions. These are all business functions. So based on business needs, SAP regroup these tools here. Okay. So these tools are further grouped as this one. Okay. All right. The first one is BI tools. The second one is EIM, Enterprise Information Management Tools. The next one is Enterprise Performance Management Tools. So what is the focus of this one? Okay. This is primarily targeted for reporting and analysis. Okay. So what we do here, we do analysis. Data analysis and reporting. Okay, what we do, data analysis. Data analysis and reporting. Okay, so primarily we focus on here data analysis and report. Okay, so what exactly I do, I analyze the data, I create reports. Okay, I analyze data and create reports. That's basically the function we perform underneath. Okay, we perform underneath. So now we just need to figure out what exactly we are going to do in our life. Okay, are we going to be report people? Yes, then this is the best option. Are we going to be doing different things? Then we need to look for what the different things are. So what we do here actually, data management. Okay, data management. So data management and data quality. Okay, and data quality, data governance. Okay, data governance and data governance. Okay, so that's basically what we do here. Okay, so data quality. Okay, so data quality and then data governance. So this is what we do at this phase of enterprise information management. And what we do here, so here we focus on planning, budgeting, forecasting, consolidation. This is where BPC comes into picture. Okay, so here you do planning, budgeting. Okay, planning, budgeting, forecasting. Okay, and consolidation. Okay, and consolidation. It's up to us what we want to do. These are all comes under BO. Okay, these are all required HANA. Okay, a lot of people ask me, oh, if I go in this path, will I be able to get to HANA? Okay, Yes, you will. Okay, yes, you will. But the point what I'm trying to make you understand, okay, the point what I'm trying to make you understand, get the big picture. Then you will be like now. So how do we choose what you want to do? Right? It's again your interest, right? So it's based on your interest, you get to choose. Okay, based on your interest, you get to choose. So at a high level, okay, what is that? This is what it has. Okay, at high level, this is how it goes. Now let's look at what kind of tool each one of those has. Okay, what kind of tool we have under each one of them. So now, if I look at here, okay, there are different tools available. So what kind of tool that I could use for this one? Okay, so this is where you have tools like BOBI. Okay, tools like BOBI. So you can use BOBI. Okay, you can use Crystal. Okay, you can use Crystal. You can use Dashboard. Okay, you can use Dashboard. You can use OLAP analysis. Okay, Live Office. Okay, you can use OLAP analysis. Live Office. I'm not going to list all of them. So this is basically the tool that what we use to build reports or analyze data. Okay, so this is basically the BI tools what is used. Okay, all right. So what kind of tools that we use here? Okay, so here we use. Okay, there are several tools. Data services. Okay, use data services, and then information steward. Okay, information steward, and then you also have a data quality. Okay, you also have a data quality. So these are the different tools we can use under this particular category. Okay, under this category. What kind of tool we'll be using? These are the tools that we'll be using, and this tool primarily focuses on data-related activities. The last one is planning, budgeting, forecasting. Here, what tool we use? Okay, so here, as most of you already know, BPC. Okay, so another hottest area where industry is looking for a lot of experts. Performance management tools. Here we use BPC, SSM, strategy management. Okay, SSM or XM, I believe strategy management, and then disclosure management. So these kind of tools we could use under this one. Okay, I'm not listing all the tools, but I just wanted to give you an idea what it is. Okay, what it is. Now, if you notice, all of them need data. How do we get the data? And this is where Hana comes into the picture. Okay, so Hana will be, if you look at my slide deck, so all these tools, okay, can take data from Hana. Okay, so Hana is going to come here. So point is which path you choose. Okay, so which path you choose, it's up to you. Okay. So Hana will be providing data for all these guys. Okay. In between there are other layers, right? See this one? There are other layers. Okay. In between there are other layers. But what you need to know, okay, if someone asks you, okay, what combination skill I'm looking for. If someone expects you to know as a Hana, you have to be like very clear on which path you are going to choose. Okay. So Hana could do either this way, okay, or this way. Okay. So basically, these are the parts where you could get the data from Hana into this one. Okay. All right. I'm just going to stop here, and then I'm going to pass on to our friends. They will continue the topic. So basically, all I'm trying to say, okay, if we have a confusion, there are so many tools out there. Which path I should be choosing so that I can land a smooth, stable job or build my career in such a way? It's up to you. Okay. It's your interest. If you are interested in planning, budgeting, forecasting, consolidation, then focus on this area. Okay, so this area also has a demand. Okay, this also has a demand. If your focus is going to be data, this is heavy in function. Keep in mind, this is very heavy in functional side. Okay, this needs deep functional expertise. Needs solid functional skills. Okay, functional and communication skills. Okay, doesn't mean that others are not required. This is more. Okay, need solid functional and communication skills. Okay, communication skills. So without that, it's going to be tough here. Okay, why? Because that's the nature. Okay, that is the nature of this one. Okay, so you will be end up talking to. So you do need to have good, solid functional skills and communication skills. Okay, functional skills as well as the communication skills. So I'm not saying you don't need that kind of skill here. We do need the skill, but the point is, this is compared to this, it's not that heavy. Okay. So here I would say required, but it's not that heavy. Needs not solid, good functional skills. Okay, good functional skills too. Anyway, it's up to you what path you choose. Okay, what path you choose. You could choose any one of those paths to land where you want to land. Okay. All right. So I think I covered the learning roadmap. Okay. And also I covered the course, what's the objective of the course, okay? Just to recap what I covered, the course is basically divided into 9 different units. Starts with the business driver, BO fundamentals, data modeling, that is taking a driver and do model. Once you build the model, that includes bringing data and everything. Then we pick all the tools, then start working towards tools. Finally, we deal with the deployment, user access and security. The last one is how do we get certified in SAP so that I become a certified consultant. So it is not a tool learning, it's more of like, I would say a solution or a role that you are learning here. The total course is 140 hours. It's offered on some Saturday, 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 7 to 8 hours duration, once in a week. What are we going to learn? In what sequence it's going to occur? This is how it's going to occur. Okay, but the sequence might a little bit change based on how things go, but this is what we are going to learn. Okay, in a big picture, what is involved in BO 4.0? This is what involved. There are three major areas: BI, EPM, EAM. Business intelligence, enterprise information management, enterprise business performance management, right? Enterprise performance management, right? So these are the three focus areas. All right, with that, I'm going to hand over to our friend who's going to talk about, he's going to show you the live system. Okay, I want to make sure you all in an agreement that we have systems, you are able to see the system and practice the system so that you have better control and confidence, right? I'm just going to bring our friend Mr. Paul, he's going to show you. I don't have a system right now which is installed on my laptop, so the one I'm using I need to install. So he's going to show you those systems, then we will take it from there. 1 second. Paul, I'm going to make you as the presenter. Hold on, I don't see you. Paul, did you join online?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I don't see you online actually. Just a second.
But I'm seeing the window. I'm seeing your screen.
Yes, I found it. Okay, I'm going to make you as a panelist. All right, so I'm going to pass the control to you. You should have a control now. Okay, so go to the system and show them one by one actually, and then you take it from there at that point.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea, Paul is right now he's a BO solution architect. He lives in Virginia, and he works for one of the major federal contracts, and he was an ex-employee of Business Object, Enterprise Certificate Consultant, and his current engagement deals with the federal government project. It deals with 1,000-something reports and dashboards and things like that. It's quite complex, and I believe, I don't know whether that's true or not, he gets out. It's a massive contract owned by IBM, so he represents the client, and IBM is doing implementation. Okay, so he's going to talk to you more about it actually. So basically, Paul, what I want to do, I wanted to walk you through all the systems, then you can go into your topic. Right? Just can you go to the system one by one, show them, starting from enterprise, data services, universes, all the systems, just show them first, then you can come back and talk about the topic.
Okay. Thank you, Jyoti. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Jyoti hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. Let me just quickly introduce myself a little bit. Thanks, Jyoti. Thanks for the introduction and a wonderful introduction of the course. My name is Nagaraj, and you can reach me at pnagaraj@gmail.com on my cell number 703-731-7881. I will return your calls, emails after 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have some restriction into email access and phone access at my workplace. Anyway, the first thing, when Jyoti said, the first and foremost information we need is the data. How to bring the data. So data is available in various places, right? Flat files.
Paul, can you do me a favor?
Yeah. Sure.
Can you go to the system, show the system, then we'll come and talk about all this topics. Correct?
Okay.
Every
all
system we are going to show them.
All right. This is what we are looking at here is the data service designer. This is the tool we use to bring data from external systems, flat files, and to the BW system where the data is required. So here, I'm going to demo you right now taking a data from a flat file and bringing it to using the designer services, data service designer to the BW system. Give me a second, please. engineer.
Okay. Hold on, pause. Let me drive this call. Let me drive this one. Okay, so what you're looking at is the information designer, right? So where you can model a problem, right? All right. So can you go to universe and then show them like now how do you build a semantic layer? Just go to the universe. Gentlemen, the goal right now is I want you to physically see the system, then we can talk about what each one does. Okay, then we can talk about each one does. So you could tell them all those things later, Paul. Just show them. The next one is
okay. So what you see here right now on the screen is data services screen, data services system, designer here, where you use jobs and other data sources and data destination and jobs to transfer the data. And in the back end, just now I opened Universe Designer, information design tool. This is where you build a semantic layer for the businesses. And here you can access the data from backend like SAP BW. Here you see the data I pulled out from a BW system, from a BW cube. And you can also control the data, secure the data here. And this is the driver semantic layer, which feeds data to Crystal, Webby, dashboards, and all other presentation layer.
All right. So now go to now go to Webby. So I want to show you the tool, then we'll come back and talk each of those tools. Okay? Each of those tools, what it does.
So this is what you see right now is the Web Intelligence interface or BA Launchpad. This is what the end user will see. End user will not see any of the tools. The final product you develop and deliver will land here, and this is where the end user will be using, interacting with the system and for the data and for analysis. This is what they use. Go here. So you can see a lot of folders here, and the whole reports are Webby documents. Everything is organized in folder structure here. And this is my folder, Pars Webby, and you see a lot of documents here. One is all you see. The first one, article lookup, is a Web Intelligence document. There's another Web Intelligence document, BW report from Q. This is a Web Intelligence document. And you see a Crystal document, another Crystal document. Then there's a dashboard, etc. This is the Webby interface. Whatever you do finally comes and stays here and for the users to consume.
All right, so now go to Webby itself. So look at how many involved, right? The point what I'm trying to make, and look at how many tools involved in this. Okay? That's why you have to learn as a solution provider. If you go with a tool guy, you may not even able to find a job. Okay? So we are going to cover that, but I just wanted to run through with you all the tools that what we are going to use, so that you will have better feel what tool comes when and there. All right. So what you're looking at is going to now launch the Webby actual itself. What you looked at Launchpad, which is more of an access part. How do I access an information? This is more, I would say, like a portal, okay? SharePoint portal or my SAP Enterprise portal where you could collaborate and access information, okay? So now how do we build the information, analyze the tools, analyze the data? So that's the Webby. Go ahead, Paul.
So this is, if you see here, you have options to design? What do you want to design here? Web intelligence application or Crystal here? This one is Crystal, and that one is OLAP Cube, and this one is Bex Cube. So let me go back and develop a Webby, simple Webby. The detail will be given by Manoj.
Yeah, Paul, we don't need to create one actually. This is fine. This is enough actually. Okay, just to open, if you have a report, open an existing report, that's enough.
Okay. Let's run this one, article the third report. So this is a Webby report built on the sample data. It's a simple report here. I have shown you a very simple report here, but this can be converted on the fly into charts and other stuff. For different kind of charts, drill down reports, and many other features can be added to this, and that will be covered by Manuel Shafman.
Sure, that's fine. All right, now go to Crystal. So far, if you look at what tools you looked at data services, you looked at Universe, you looked at BA Launchpad, you looked at Web Intelligence. Now we are going for Crystal. Okay, now we are going for Crystal.
This is a Crystal report, and the data is pulled from a BW Cube. Just a raw report here, raw data is displayed, and still you can do many different formatting and very interactive, interesting design in the Crystal reports, and that will be again covered by Manoj. But the idea is here, the Crystal report takes the data from BW Cube, and the Webby, it takes the data from MS Access database. So we can do different combinations of back-end and front-end combinations on delivery tools. Okay.
Okay. All right.
This is Webby.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. This is enough. Okay. You have seen already Crystal dashboards, so that is fine. But now you can continue with topic balls, actually. So I just wanted to give them an idea what tools that is involved, so that okay, hold on 1 second. Let me just take 1 second, then you will take it over from that point. Okay, 1 second. Just be in the line. So what you looked at right now, actually, so if you noticed what we looked at, there are so many different tools that's been shown to you. Okay? So if you look at what are the things that is involved, so it starts from the data sources from where you get the data. Okay, how am I going to get my data? All right, I'm getting the data from an SAP ECC system. Okay, that's the one we looked at as a core transaction system. And how do we take the data to the next step? I need the data services. And how do we build the data into a semantic layer? Then I need Universe. Okay, once the data is in Universe, what tool I can use? How the user can access the tools? Okay, so user can access the tools by using either a report or a dashboard or whatever you want to build. Right, so you could use any one of those. Okay. So from data, it's going to go to the next step through data services. From there, you create a semantic layer. That's a Universe, right? That's a Universe which is going to be sitting here actually. Once I'm done this one, then up to me what tool I'm going to use. There are several tools that we looked at, right? So it could be either a Webby where I can build on-the-fly reports, correct? On-the-fly report. It's primarily for analysis. What kind of analysis do? Top 10 customers, best customers, right? Top 10 products. So, or I could use a Crystal, okay? Or I could use a Crystal report to create a format structured report. Example, when you go to DMV, the report that what you're getting from a DMV, right? So for your registration, those are all Crystal reports, okay? Or if you're filing for an INS 27, that's the Crystal report, okay? Or you could use dashboards, okay? You could use dashboards. Okay, you could use dashboards. or you could use any other tools like what Paul was talking about, OLAP analysis tools. Okay, OLAP analysis tools, exploration tools, whatever tool that you want, you could use those tools. Okay, you could use those tools. Then how do we take to the next step? Okay, to the user. That's the BA Launchpad. Okay, so how do we take to the user? Okay, the user will come into through the Launchpad, BA Launchpad. On top of this, you have the BA Launchpad, which is going to come here. Now, if you look at what are the tools that we looked at, on top of here actually, you have BA Launch. Okay, BA Launchpad. So the Launchpad is more of a portal where you can access. Okay, where you can access. Or if we have something else, okay, let's say you can use SharePoint or whatever it is. So on top of this, you bring Launchpad. So just now, what are the tools we looked at? Okay, we looked at BA Launchpad. That's one of them. Okay, and we also looked at Webby, Crystal Dashboards. These three tools we looked at. Okay, these three tools we looked at. So this is also we looked at, and then we looked at Universe ECC. Okay. So these are tools we looked at, and this is what required to build a solution, okay? And this is basically enterprise reporting, okay? This is the enterprise reporting. So in order for you to go out and say, I know BO, you need to know in some capacity each of those tools. Without this, it's very hard for you to justify, I know BO, okay? It is an enterprise reporting tools, okay? Enterprise reporting or analysis tools, okay? Reporting or analysis tools. So this is something that industry expects from you as a consultant, as a solution provider. Okay. So I just want to give you a feel different tools that looks and what we are going to do with those tools. Okay. So with that, I'm going to pass on to Paul, and he's going to talk about the architecture, technical landscape. Okay. Architecture and technical landscape. So Paul, we have control now. So now let's understand technically how these are all looking. Okay. Technical architecture. Okay? Some of them I already covered. Again, he's not going to go in depth. It's just to give you an overview, an idea. We do need to know technically how these are going to fit together. All right?
Thanks, Jyoti.
No problem.
Technical architecture. I'm going to cover what are the various components involved in giving the BI solution from the business objects technical perspective. Basically, the technical architecture is classified into three different groups. Client tools. I'm sorry.
What are you doing, boss?
Client tools, management tools, management tools and platform services. These are the major classification of BA solution, BA architecture. And the client tools we saw before, it includes Crystal, Webby, and Crystal, Webby, and dashboards. And Universe Designer and Information Design Tool. These are the various client tools in the BA system. And the management tools include central management console and the central configuration manager and the lifecycle manager. Lifecycle manager is used for version control of the system of the complete BO deliverable components. To control the deliverable components, version control is used. Central management control is the nerve center of the complete BO system, where you control all the BO objects and the BO access control and all the component control. Everything is done on the central management area. And the central configuration manager is used for managing the repository databases and the audit database and all the servers involved in the system. There are a lot of servers involved in SAP Business Objects, and all the servers are controlled and configured by the central configuration manager. We will see that when we do the class. Just giving you a rough idea now. And platform services. On platform services, there are many servers involved in BO, and the servers include a file repository server, service, and scheduling service, and processing service, security service, and auditing services. So what are these services? File repository services will handle the management of file. Every object you develop in a BO system, like the universe you develop, the reports you develop, the security components you develop, everything is stored, converted into a proprietary file, and they are stored into a file server. That's what the file server repository services will control that. And scheduling services will control, you can run a report directly on demand, or you can run a report on scheduling basis. You can schedule a report run on a particular time of the day, or a couple of times a day, or once in a couple of days. Those kind of scheduling is managed by scheduling services, and the processing services will take care of whenever you run a report on demand. The processing services will kick in and they serve the request, and security services and auditing services will completely monitor the auditing of the system. This is basically a brief view of the technical architecture of the BO system. And then I'm going to now switch to how the data flows into the BO system from the databases, from the data store to all the way up to the browser. So we have the data sources here. You can see there are many different data sources. Non-SAP, SAP ECC, and SAP BI. All these systems can feed into the universe. The semantic layer. Universe is a semantic layer where, what does semantic layer do? What do we do there? Let's see. semantic layer, we do translation of technical terms to business terms. Security. Security, object level, row level. Object level and row level, and different data sources. And data governance. So these are the some of the functions we do in universe layer. Then from universe, the data goes to repository, from universe the data goes to repository and the file system. So what goes to repository is all the metadata about the universe goes to the repository. What metadata of the universe? Universe has connection to the database and how many number of rows can be retrieved, how much time it has to wait for a SQL to complete execution, those kind of information, and the object security level, everything, all those information are packed up into a proprietary object and stored in the repository, and the repository stores the information back in the file system also. So then from here, the data goes to Crystal, we saw here, the Crystal, the Crystal BOBI and dashboard. So universe can feed to all three different layers, all three different presentation layers. And again, every time when you design a Crystal, a BOBI, or dashboard, the file is stored in the repository also. The actual physical file of all these three files are stored in the repository, as well as the repository stores in the file system, and finally all these presentation layers feed to browser. So this is how the data flows from the base system, from the database system here, and through Universe, and through Ruby, Crystal, and Dashboard, and Browser, and to the repository and the file system. This is the data architecture of inside the business objects system, BA system. And now I am going to show you the data services interface and how a simple data transfer is done. We saw this here. Okay, this is the data service designer interface. You can design data stores, which is the recipient and the source of data. This is the play. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, you see data stores here. There are a lot of data stores here is already designed here, and data store act as a source of the data as well as the destination of the data. And each data store, you can add them into a data flow, which you see on the right side here. That's a data flow, and the data flow contains source and, if you look at the data flow contains the source. This is the source class type, and this is the transformation, and this is the destination. And what is this? Let's take one by one, see what each one of them is. Class type. This source data store is it's a flat file. I'm taking a data from a flat file called the class type. Class type data here, flat file, and if you look at that, class data for the class type, you can see the data in this one, view data. So this is the data from the flat file pulled into the data services as a source data. And if you look at the source file, so this is the source file. This is the notepad. I open the source file, flat file in a notepad. Then this file has been brought into the data services designer as a source. Then this data is going to go to the SAP data is going to go to SAP BW staging area. So let's see how does that work.
Is user ID correct? I don't think user ID is correct.
Yeah.
Is it Paul or false? I thought it's false.
1 second, Jyoti. I think it's yeah, I asked them to put PALs. They put PAL always. I don't know why. So if you look at that, I have an info package here, but I'm going to schedule the info package to pull the data from the flat file through the data services into the SAP BW staging area.
So understand this, right? How the data are coming, right? Again, we are not really following the curriculum. I want you to understand the technical landscape, how it looks, right? The technical landscape in this case, data sitting in a file. It doesn't matter where the data sits. It could be in a file, or it could be in an ECC system, or it could be whatever, correct? We are going to learn all of them. But in this particular case, he's trying to convey what we have seen in the PowerPoint in the system, right? Let's assume the data which is sitting in a file, it's a sales information. I want to bring the sales information into the report form. how do we bring it? Sitting in a file. So I'm going to use data services to bring the data from the file into SAP BW. Once it's in SAP BW, then I can build on top of it universe. Once I build the universe, then I can take it to the report. Okay? So the tools that is involved, I want it to connect all the dots, right? Connect the dots. You have a sales information which is sitting in a file. The next is data services. The next is SAP BW. Now he's going to schedule a load, which is going to pull the data from the file into the queue. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, I just scheduled the info package. If you look at the monitor here, see, this is the one I just scheduled it. Look at the PSA, the data pulled from the flat file into the BA system.
In this case, in this particular case, we are not using SAP BW ETL tool. We are using business objects, right? If somebody already know SAP BW, or people who know SAP BW, for them, if you realize, none of the BW ETL components, okay, is used here. So these are all coming through data services. And I believe, and I could be wrong, I believe that's what SAP is going to focus on. SAP BW ETL is going to diminish. Okay, it's going to be more and more through data services. That's the only single ETL platform SAP want to focus on. So at this time, the data what you're looking in the file, it came from data services into BW. All right, Paul, that's fine.
Yeah. If you look at here, this is the flat file, and look at this screen here. That's the data designer, data services. This flat file is pulled into the data services, and finally the file is transferred into the BW system here. If you want, I can just quickly do one more run of this, just changing the data here. Let me change all the CLA to CLA TP. Find and replace all. CLA, all CLA to CLTP, replace all. Okay, all of them have been replaced. So now if I save this file, Now I saved the flat file. Now let's see what happens in the data services. So I'm using the data services definition. I'm using the class type CSV file, class type CSV file as a source for that. Then I have to refresh this. So now the change I made in the class type, in the flat file here, is brought into the data services here. Save and close. Now if I go and run extraction job here, start the scheduler here, start the schedule here.
Oh, can I ask you?
Sure.
I thought you were going to talk about technical architecture products directly. So we're going to so deep into this technical implementation. Do you think it's required?
Yeah, just only this demo is okay. I'm done.
Can you answer my question? Do you think this is required for this session?
Just a demo, okay.
So whatever topic you want to cover, just cover that and give it back to me. Then I will take it over.
Okay, and this is the, let's move on. We saw the demo, and then I'm going to show you the Universe Designer quickly, and the information design tool. So once the data is transferred into the BW system, we can use any information design tool to pull the data from the okay, if you see here, I have a BW connection, which is connected to a cube. And this business layer, you see here, what's that? So this is a connection to the, from information designer, we are trying to pull the data from the back-end system into the information designer, which is a universe designer. And if you look at here, the configuration of how this is done. So here the SAP, the pure BW connection here, I give all the information and the info provider. This is where you can pull different access to the cubes. So you can see here all the cubes listed here, all the DO objects, cube and virtual objects, ODS, and etc. Here we have listed all the cubes here, and you can access the cubes and pull the data from the cubes. And I am using one cube called slow. Okay, I'm using a cube called JSIE OK. And if you look at the data from here, you can so we create a connection, and based on the connection, we create a data foundation, and on top of the data foundation, this is the BW foundation. You can see all the tables related to the cube pulled into here. And from here, from the data foundation, you build a business layer on top of it, and this is the business layer on top of the cube I built. You see the accounts, all the dimensions, and here's the sign data here. The measure is already automatically converted to sign data. Here, what you can do is, I'm giving you one quick example. Here, you can say, for example, sign data. Sign data is not useful to the user. He doesn't know what it is. If this is a sales revenue, you can change the name here to sales revenue. Change the name to sales revenue, then user will understand, okay, this is a sales revenue. He can just drag and drop the sales revenue object when he's doing analysis or kind of reporting. And you can check the data right here, the information you pulled is correct or not, your cube contains data or not. You can do that right here. So let me see, let's see what happens here quickly. I want to see the accounts, then I want to see the sign data value for that account. So I can go refresh. You have to keep in mind that I'm still in the universe designer. I'm not in the reporting tool or anything like that. I'm making sure that in the information design tool, I'm connecting to the system, backend system properly, and I'm getting the data properly. So you can see all the data here. I have accounts and the related dimension value for that. As a sales revenue is coming up here. Now, once we can do many data controls here, and after do all the data control, security, and everything, you publish this into the universe, into the universe is already published actually. So data foundation. Now, once after we do all the data control, everything here in the information design tool, we can publish it to the repository. Then from here, the data goes to the presentation layer, which I'll show you, which is the launchpad here. The BA launchpad, that's where you see the reports and everything. And if you look at here, you want to see a new report, build a new report. So I have to build a new report. Everything is here. I'm a business guy. I want to do some analysis. So I go here. Then I say I want to create a new report. Sorry. So it's going on querying the repository, and it's going to bring up all the available universes for me to work on. Come on. I'm done, Jyoti.
Okay, all right. So, do you want to take it over?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, hey, Manoj, are you ready? So I'm just going to spend some time, then I'll pass on to you.
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So let me cover what he did. Okay. So he went to more of the technical in nature, which is good. But let's understand what happened here actually. Okay. There are some questions people are asking where the actual data is stored. Okay. And how do we get those data? Okay. There are so many different combinations. So this is what we need to understand. Okay. Let's say the client is using. Okay. The question is where the actual data. Okay. Actual data stored. So when you bring data. Okay. When you bring data from or via. Okay. Via a data services to. Okay. Via data services or where the data will be stored. When you access the data, when you access, keep in mind bringing is different, access the data. Okay, access the data via universe. So these are the questions people are asking. Okay, so what we talked about data could come. This is my source system. Okay, this is my source system where I have sales actual. Okay, this is my sales actual. So that means my goal is what? I need to find out top 10 customers. Okay. So what I want to find out? I want to find out top 10 customers. Who are the customers buying the product? Top 10 customers. Okay. I want to find out top 10 customers across the world. Okay. Top 10 customers around the world. So who's the top 10 customer for my company around the world? So that means I need to go to get the data from the source. In this case, the source assumed it's ECC. Okay, the source assumed that it's ECC. So how do we bring this one? Okay, multiple options. I can directly bring this through. Okay, option 1 into an SAP BW queue. If the client is using already SAP BW, which is most cases that is true. Okay, most cases that is true. So this is SAP BW. So the client is using SAP BW. I'm going to bring the data. How do we bring the data? Use data services. Okay. Don't use SAP BW ETL process. Use data services. You have seen he was using data services. It's not just only ECC. It could be file. Okay. It could be file. So the data could also come from a file too. Okay. It's not only from here. Instead of this, it could be a file. Okay, it could be a file. So the file can also bring the data. The next thing what he did, okay, he used universe. Now on top of it, he don't want to take the data as it is. Okay, it's going to build a universe. Okay, so he is going to build a universe on top of this. This is the universe. Okay, this is the universe. So now you need to understand what you need to understand. So the data, actual data, are sitting in where? Here. The actual term here. Okay, actual data sitting here. So this is the actual data. Okay, stored here. Stored here. Actual data stored here. Number one. Alright. Number two, it's also stored here. Here, no data storage. It's just a semantic layer. No data stored. Okay, no data storage. Okay, no data stored here. When it comes to this place, we don't have any data. Here, data stored. Okay, data stored here. So there are some questions people are asking where the actual data stored. Okay, the actual data are stored here. So in this case, the actual data brought in from here to file. Okay, the one that what we looked at, it came from the file to here. Then on top of it, we build the universe. Okay, we build universe. So this universe, it could be you bring data from multiple sources, you combine them, and then create a universe. On top of that, okay, he was trying to show you a web intelligence report. Okay, by using this universe, you build a web intelligence report. Okay, so this is one part. Understand there are several combinations. Okay, several combinations. Baby reports. I'm building this one. So what is this one? This one is nothing but when a client already have SAP BW. So this will work. Okay, this will work when a client. Okay, when a client already has. Okay, already has SAP BW in their SAP system landscape. Okay, in their SAP system landscape. In their SAP system landscape, they already have BW. This particular option will work. Let's take an example. Okay, let's take an example. The client don't have an SAP BW already in the landscape. Okay, the client don't have an SAP. Keep in mind, this will work only if the client is having SAP BW in the landscape. If the client don't have an SAP BW, okay, this option is not going to work. Why? I'm not going to store the data in an SAP BW system. Okay, so that part is ruled out. All right, now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, now let's say client don't have, client does not have, okay, client does not have SAP BW, okay, SAP BW does not have SAP BW, but it is an SAP system, but, okay, the client has, okay, the client has ECC as a system, okay, ECC system, okay, ECC system. So the client is using ECC. In that case, what we need actually, we no need BW, okay, we no need BW. So what you can do, you can use directly universe, okay, get rid of this thing, okay, get rid of this thing. You can directly use universe to pull the data from ECC, okay, you can directly use universe to pull the data. So in this case, data is stored only in ECC, then build it. So several combinations involved, okay, several combinations involved. Let's say they don't have an BW system. So what you can do, you can use the file, okay, you can use the file and create an universe on top of it. Most likely nobody's going to do that. Okay, I'm just saying you could build that. On top of this one, you create a universe. Okay, the file become a data source. The file become the data source. Then build a report and build a report on top of it. Okay, so this is with BW. This is without BW. If you don't have a BW, you could use this option. Okay, you could use this option. So again, these are all we'll be discussing. So the way SAP asking you to do a technical architecture, how do you do a technical architecture for an SAP implementation or a landscape, right? So the way SAP is telling you to do. So on the top, you put your ERP system. So these are all my ERP systems. Okay, let's say, so this is my ERP system. One end, you put your ERP system. This is an SAP recommendation. I'm not recommending. So these are all your ERP or core transactional systems. Okay, that is the feed. Okay, what do you see this one? So this is a core ERP or your transactional system. Okay, transactional systems. So in this system, okay, you could have several combinations. Some clients may be using SAP, some clients may not be using SAP. So this could be SAP ERP. It's a non-SAP ERP. Okay, this is combination of both SAP plus non-SAP. Okay, SAP plus non-SAP ERP. And the other end, no enterprise data warehouse. Okay, SAP enterprise data warehouse, non-SAP enterprise data warehouse. Correct. So this is a combination of SAP plus non-SAP. Okay, SAP plus non-SAP data warehouse. Like that, you put both in a side by side. Okay, so this is on the row. You see where the data is going to be stored. Okay, this is basically data is going to be produced. So what you see on the top, core transaction system, data producer. Okay, data producer. So who's going to produce the data? Okay, so these are the people who's going to actually produce the data. Okay, ultimately what we need. Okay, whether you do with Hana or whatever you do, you need data. Who's going to produce the data? It's produced by the core transactional ERP systems. What is these systems? These systems are storing the data. Okay, what is these guys are doing? Store the data across enterprise. Okay, store the data across enterprise. So what this does? Data storage. Okay, data storage. So this stores the data. So what SAP recommends, you can architect BOBJ based on these two combinations. Okay, based on these two combinations. Okay, so here if you notice, one end I'm producing the data. Second end I'm storing the data for analysis. Data storage for business analytics. Okay, data storage for business analytics. Okay, business analytics. So if you have a combination of no enterprise data warehouse, SAP ERP, use architecture 1. Okay, use BO architecture. Okay, option 2. Okay, or 1, whatever that is. Correct. So I'm just giving you an idea. These are all you will learn, but point what I'm trying to make you understand. This is how you design the solution. Come on, what the heck? Hold on. So this is how you design the solution. Okay, so this is how you design the solution. Okay, so coming back to this slide, what I was trying to tell, there was some question I noticed people are asking, where do you actually store the data? Okay, I hope I explained you. If the client will already have SAP BW landscape, this is how it should be. No BW, this is how it is. Okay, this is how it is. So how do we, all the combinations going to look at it, this is how you look at it. Okay? One end, you put data producer who's actually producing the data. And other end, you put who's actually going to store the data for business analytics. Where are you going to store the data for business analytics? So it could be EDW stands for Enterprise Data Warehouse. Enterprise Data Warehouse. Okay. So it could be an SAP-based data warehouse, or it could be non-SAP-based data warehouse, or it could be combination of both, or there's no data warehouse at all. Okay. So in that case, what option that I'll be using for to design a BOBJ architecture? Okay. So this could be an architecture 1. It could be architecture 2. There are hundreds of architectures you come up with, but this is basically the rule of thumb someone should know. What our friend Mr. Pauls was trying to do, he was going for architecture option 1. Okay, this option he was trying to demonstrate. Okay, so I hope you guys are clear now. So this is basically one approach. From a file BW to universe, then reports. Okay, file to BW, BW to universe, universe to reports. And how do I bring to file to this one? I'm not using SAP BW ETL. I'm using SAP BO ETL, which is data services. Okay, which is data services. And this is the ideal path for long term. Okay, in long run, no more BW ETL. Okay, in long run, then I don't know. Okay, in long run, there won't be. Okay, there won't be any SAP BW ETL tools. Okay, when I say ETL tools, I'm talking about data sources, info package, okay, info packages, PSA, transformation, okay, transformation, DTP, routines. So these are all going to vanish. Okay, these are all going to vanish. Again, don't take my word. That's the strategic direction SAP takes. Number 1. Number 2, Hana will have more impact. Okay, Hana will have more impact to SAP BW. Will have more impact. Okay, to SAP BW. That means some of the functions of SAP BW will be redefined. Okay, some of the functions of SAP BW will be redefined. Okay, will be redefined. Example, routines. Okay, example, routines will be in memory. Okay, will be in memory. Okay, in memory. Example, multi-provider will be in memory. Okay, will be in memory. So, etc. All I'm saying actually, there are more impact to because of HANA. I'm just trying to say the function of SAP BW is getting diminished. Okay, the functions of SAP BW is getting diminished, but nothing to worry. Okay, all I'm trying to say as a FYI. So SAP direction moving forward, use Universe as an ETL tool. Okay, this is an ETL tool. Okay, this is an ETL tool. All right. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to bring our friend Mr. Manoj. Wonderful Manoj. So he is the solution expert. He's going to demo on the solution, what kind of solution we built. If you look at the course content, in the course content towards the end, there are actual solutions, cash flow, sales, and then income statement, I believe. So those are all built by Manoj, and he's going to talk to you about, in the course, what kind of solutions we are going to build, okay, and the different tools involved. I told you, Karen, it's not just like, one tool alone is done, Karen. It's a combination of tools. So we do need to understand everything. So now the focus is, we are going to focus more into what kind of solution you are going to build. End of the day, we all need to be successful. Okay, end of the day, we all need to be successful. So when I say successful, we have to go out and find a job. So, or we have to enhance our career which is already in this space, right? So how do we enhance? We have to justify what work we have done. So the solution is going to basically talk about so how do you basically justify you have done this one, right? So we need to justify somebody that yes, I have done this one. So he's going to talk about solutions overview right now. All right, let me bring him on board. Okay. All right, 1 second. I will try to answer your questions. There are questions that is still sitting directly, we're just focusing on this one. 1 second. Okay. Hey, Manoj? All right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so let me give an introduction about Manoj. Very young guy, dedicated. I would say I don't that much inspired by people. I was inspired by him. At this age, so focused, so dedicated, built so many different applications, so many different certifications, excellent communication. Okay, so he works for one of the consulting firm and well known in this space. He has seen a lot of articles, he's written a lot of articles, published a lot of articles, well known in this space. The most thing is so deep into building solutions, demos, and things like that, right? So with that, Manoj, I'm going to hand over to you. Take it from here.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. I know there was a lot of information thrown your way, and it might be a bit difficult to grab onto things, but hang in there, and we'll pull you through. The whole idea of this process was, as Jyoti was saying, we are not learning just tools. We're not at all talking about tools. We are always looking at the why aspect of things. If you say what, and if you say tools and what can the tool do, then you always will approach the problem with that same approach that what can I do for you? What can Crystal Reports do for you? Maybe I can run your report for that. So that's not the whole approach for this class. We are talking about the why. Why was Crystal Report created? Why would we go about using a certain tool? And from a whole range of tools, why would we choose a certain option or a certain scenario? Now, coming back to all that has been covered so far, we have always looked at the data source, and we have looked at different places in which the data actually rests. The last point that Carl had handed over to Jyoti and Jyoti spoke about was how you were pulling data from the source data or data warehouse and putting it into a universe. Now, for an end user, it's never easy to look at data and visualize what is happening or what needs to be done. So for that, we need to create some kind of reports on top of them, which can be easily distributed or can be easily modified. So what you see on your screen is a quick snapshot of the kind of reports we have in an enterprise environment. You have a whole lot of static reports. These are your monthly reports, quarterly reports, review reports, just numbers and figures which need to be passed on. The second set of report is parameterized reports. These are reports which you will be running for a certain scenario. So if you're getting audited for 3 months in the year of 2011, so you would run a parameterized report which pulls in data only for those specific 3 months. And the final thing that you look at is custom reports. These are analysts trying to drill and find out why certain things happen, or if they want to trend their whole sales process and see when are they going to get hit by a spike, and if they want to ramp up production or something. These are custom reports. These are very specific questions. And so whenever you're getting pulled in to create reports, you need to ask why you need the report. What is the basic need for having a certain report? And then once you understand a bunch of whys, only then should you pick and choose a tool. You shouldn't go in to a scenario saying that, okay, I know Crystal, I know Excelsius, or I know creation of universes and Webby. That approach will not be helpful for the end user or your career. Now, coming back to the tools, we will be talking about 3 of the tools right now. These are all the reports, all the things within the presentation layer that we will be working with. Here's a quick snapshot that you can see on how you would go about choosing a tool. On your y-axis, you have your executives at the very top, and you have the analysts at the very bottom. Analysts are the people who look at the very granular nitty-gritties of the data, while executives just need to know, hey, is this process in red? Do I need to do something about it? Or if this process is in green, I don't really need to worry about it. Along the x-axis, you'll see reports being dynamic to reports being static. Now, going back to the earlier curve, you saw there are a lot of static reports. These are things that are just pushed out. And as Jyoti mentioned, we were talking about Crystal reports being used by DMV to send out your details or email out your details to you. So that's what this whole slide covers. This just shows you that, yes, we have Crystal reports here. We are looking at a lot of static data. Some of these reports are consumed by the executive. Some of these are consumed by the mid-management. So that is one of the reasons why we will use Crystal reports. The big thing about Crystal Report is it's one of the most mature tools in the BI suite that SAP provides. It has been there since a very long time. It was an old company called Crystal Enterprise. They picked it up. They changed a couple of names. They were doing so well that they actually got integrated with Microsoft, and then BOBJ or Business Objects saw it and said, okay, this is something that we need, and they picked it up. And once Business Objects came into the market in a big way, SAP saw it that, okay, these guys have a good set of presentation tools, and we need that for our front end. And so they bought Business Objects, and now you have an SAP BI solution. So it's one of the most mature tools. One of the things, because of the maturity, is that it has a lot of connectors. You can literally connect to any of your legacy data sources. A lot of new tools won't have that backward compatibility. You have to use services like data services or universe or a data warehouse with an ETL process in the back end to pull the data. But because the system was designed in a very old time, they have a lot of inbuilt connectors. So from the 3 tools that I'll be mentioning today, Crystal Report is one of the most viable ones to pull data and to prototype any kind of universe or dashboard or report. It is also one of the most pixel perfect reports. Basically, you would end up, actually, let me give you a good scenario. If you're using legal documents need to be formatted in a certain way, with a certain margin, with a certain header, and the header has to appear in certain pages and not in all of the pages. So these can actually be programmatically done. The whole idea of having Crystal reports was earlier, back in the day when people were using spreadsheets, to make every one of the spreadsheets customized to different purposes, they had to go into Excel or go into another spreadsheet tool and then create it in there. And it was a very repetitive process, and it took a lot of time. So that's the reason why they built Crystal reports, that, okay, we can do these things programmatically, where we would tell, okay, header number 1, you need to appear on every start of every group. Header number 2, you need to appear on every 3rd page, or so on and so forth. These are the requirements in the real world where you're creating documents and handing it off to people, and they are used to seeing data in a certain structure, and hence they need to see the finalized report in a certain structure. 3rd point is embeddable, scalable, personalizable. So imagine you have a huge suite of 120 managers all across the nation, and they need to get data once a month about how their sales are doing, how their processes are doing. a lot of them would not have access to the corporate network or good computer at that point of time. They might be just in the fields doing work, doing actual work on oil rigs or faraway places. So the whole idea is to embed these reports into different solutions. So if you have a web page, you can have the report published onto the web page where they can just go in and take a look. Or if you have a mobile data distribution solution where you actually send out emails to their cell phones or mobile or portable devices, you can have it done. The best part about this is the data is completely personalizable. So the reporting system actually looks at, okay, who's the report going to go to? Let me use his name and see what are his credentials and what are the things that we need to send it to that person. And it will only send him the subset of the data. So this becomes a really big thing when it comes to security. When you see that you have a data breach and you're losing 500 or 500,000 different corporate data points or private data points. So this is actually kind of mitigating the risk because it's giving a smaller data set and it's only giving data relevant to that person. And again, it's a completely automated process. So again, Crystal reports would be used when you need a lot of data like a spreadsheet format, but it needs to be one, pixel perfect. Two, it needs to be scalable and personalizable or just showing a subset of the data. And third was it was running in high volumes. Again, it's looking at the static portion of the data and it's looking only for this section and it's going to executives and management. A lot of analysts, they actually can't really work with Crystal reports because they're used to using Excel or other tools, Minitab or anything, and run analysis on top of it, while Crystal is normally a logged down format. So this works very well for legal documents. That you have a document which you generated and you do not want other people to change it. So, but it does not work for an analyst who wants to run scenarios, who wants to use the data, plot it in a graph, or look at the deviation and a lot of small things. You can export the data. Again, because being an old tool, a mature tool, it exports the data in almost all formats. You have Excel, you have PDF, you have XLF, you have all different formats available. So analysts can extract the data, but there are much better tools in which analysts can get the data in a faster fashion and a more precise fashion that they require. The other tool that I'll be, yeah.
Can I add a point? Can I go back to slide number 10?
Yes.
Yeah. So what this slide does, it basically tells the role and the tool mapping, right? On the y-axis, if you look at different role that someone could play, it could be an executive who's going to look for a certain type of information, or it could be a management person who's looking for some information, or it could be an analyst. So what tool they can use, right? It basically tells who's the key stakeholders, right? So when you talk about, I'm going to use baby, who might be looking for a baby report? Who may be looking for a Crystal report, right? So what this slide talks, it tells you the mapping between the tool and the role, correct? Tool and the role, which is very important. Why? You have to prepare yourself to go to that level to talk, right? If you're talking to a corporate executive, he or she may not be interested to know more about technicality, right? They're more interested to know about their business functions. They're more interested to know about what are the key KPIs I'm interested in seeing in the report, right? So the discussion could be different. If you look at the bottom, analyst, right? I'm not saying analysts don't care about it. They do care, but they're more to report building role. They can build the report themselves, right? They don't need you. So once they learn the tool, they can build the report themselves. So the level of discussion with them could be different, correct? Could be different. So you will be interacting with the different set of people with the different skill set, different roles in it, correct? So it's a very good slide. You need to understand the mapping between the user and then the tool, correct? So what role could be what role and what tool is going to be used for that role. All right, move on.
Okay, so let me quickly show you one of the Crystal report systems. And just to show you a couple of the features that I talked about, and then we'll go over to another reporting tool.
Yeah, the idea here is we don't want to teach everything at one day. We wanted to give you an idea, what tool you're going to learn and what the key characteristics and different functionality the tool does. Okay, since there are so many tools out there, why do I need this tool and what the tool does? How it's different from others and what business function looking for this tool, which is very important. So let's understand how do you build a simple crystal report and how does it look and what it does.
Okay. So we did see Paz do the basic crystal or basic report getting pulled up from the universe. He showed you the universe. He showed you you had the sign data, which you can rename to revenue or sales revenue, so on and so forth. So as I said, there are a lot of ways of connecting to data. For this instance, we've just connected it to the universe that Paz showed you a few minutes ago. And here's how you will actually look at the data. You have a small graph. It shows how your sales have done over certain product lines and over a certain period of time, certain years. Now, the good part about this is actually you have these page headers and everything can be programmatically changed. When you look at the structure of a report, you can actually see it's not much. It's just a bunch of fields getting pulled in and put into place. But there's a lot of things that you can do, a lot of ways in which you can modify the report. Again, you have data report footers and page footers and all these small features. They actually help you create and design a report in the way you want it. You have parameters. Right now, we have not set up parameters, but you can have it set up saying that whoever is the person logging in, only show him his data. You have running totals, which are numbers on the fly, which is calculated according to the data that is displayed in a certain section. So these are all the things which are required for creating standardized reports. When you try to use these reports or export these reports, you have a whole bunch of formats. You have, right now a lot of these are grayed out because of the way I'm looking at the data, but you have just plain text, XML, CSV files, or PDF. So the most used format that you will probably end up using is if it's a standard document, it's going to be a Word or an Excel document or a PDF document. But if you're trying to send this data, pre-format it, calculate it, get data in the format that you require, send it, you'll convert and send it as an XML file, which gets pulled into any of the websites or any of the portals that you are using. So that's a bit of crystal report. We'll go into nitty-gritties of how we create it, what are the different components we use, how can we refresh it, how can we have drill downs where we double-click on something and it actually shows you another level of data and pulls in all the details. That can be done, and we will cover that at a later point of time. So going back to the tools again, the other tool that we thought about was dashboards, which is again important for executives because they are used to seeing a lot of visual data. They're used to seeing graphs, trending graphs, and bar plots, and just spotting the misnomer in the trend or anything which is an aberration. So coming back to the dashboard design, we'll quickly see one of the tools and talk about it a bit more.
You can close that because having too many screens might be an issue.
Oh, okay. Probably, yeah. That's how it is. So this is one of the things we had included within the course content. It was a small dashboard which showed a certain way of looking at an income statement and doing a bunch of what-if analysis. The tool initially that you're looking at was called Excelsius because the whole reason why it came into existence was they had Excel data and they wanted to do scenarios where they wanted to do what if and they wanted a graphical component which could sit on top of Excel and which could change the numbers in Excel and then show up a whole bunch of results based on that. So initially, way back when they started using Excelsius version 4, version 3.5 was a very basic tool which sat on top of Excel. All the calculations, all the necessary things needed to be put into Excel, and then they put a graphical interface, which will be a Flash-based interface, which will show you how it works and how the changes were made. As the tool matured and progressed, they realized that, okay, we don't really need Excel to model our data. There are scenarios where I will be pulling the data directly from a universe. So you're bypassing the Excel layer. So initially you have universe. Universe is sending data either through, there are a couple of ways of connecting to universe in Excelsius. One was query as a web service or the Webby engine. So it sends the data to a couple of these data sources, and Excelsius picks it up, pulls it in, and then it puts it in either the Excel file or it pulls it directly into the data visualization that you see over here. So what happened was as it progressed, we directly started mapping the data. All these bar graphs that you see, as soon as you click on it, you'll see the data mapping, that it is actually mapped to a certain portion within the Excel model. It will tell you what exactly you're looking at, and again, the whole idea of having a dashboarding tool is you have to have fine control over what exactly gets displayed and when it gets displayed. So when you click on a certain things should show up. You don't want to overwhelm the person with a lot of data. You just want to show a certain set of data. And here's an example. We're just showing the graph, and we're just showing certain titles or pulling certain data in a certain series from a certain place. Here's an example. The whole data that you see in that graph is just getting pulled from the small Excel table here. And so similarly, if you look at the whole spreadsheet, you'll see a whole bunch of small places where you have a lot of data sitting in and how it's getting populated into the visual component. The whole idea of, again, having a graphical interface is because executives don't want to punch in numbers or write in formulas or destroy any of the formulas which have already been put in by analysts. They normally don't use Excel a lot. They just have someone else do it for them, run a report, and send it to them. The whole idea was to bypass that manual labor of getting a request sent to a person and getting it converted into another Excel spreadsheet and getting it done. So they just can do these things on the fly. This is the Excel model that you're looking at. You have the display data, then you have a plan and an actual data for all the months shown here. So going back, all the once you have the model in place, once you have the data pulled in, you can actually hit a preview and have a look at how the data looks and how it gets visualized. Again, we are targeting only at the executives who want to use these presentation tools, and analysts can't do much by looking at the visualization because he needs to work with the nitty-gritties of the data, the hardcore data. So here's a simple scenario. He wants an executive is looking at the cost of goods sold, and he wants to see, okay, my cost of goods sold is going to go down this year. How is it going to affect my net sales? Or my net sales itself is going to go down. How does it compare against my plan and actual? So whenever you move these sliders, you have all the components in the visualization changing accordingly. You can see those things also happen in different scenarios in different ways. You can slice the data on the fly to get a certain report or a certain scenario. So that is one of the tools we will be talking a lot about, where we can do scenario analysis, where we can talk about how certain things, this is primarily for doing back of the envelope calculation, but in a much more visual way, where you can see the result numbers and how they change and how things are ending up if you choose a certain scenario. What executives normally do is they run a scenario in Excel, see how the charts look, and based on that, they go back to the analyst and say, hey, this is the scenario that I want. Try and get me all the basic or fundamental details that you need to go about it. If I want to set my net sales at 136% or my operating expense at 62%. So that's how it would be used in the real world. So that was Excelsius.
Okay, Manoj, before you jump in, can you go back to the two options I want to show them? One is on the file export and the data.
Okay.
Go back to the, on a preview mode. Go back to the, now click on file exports. Show them what are the different options they can export the dashboards.
Okay. So, again, when you're looking at exporting this data, you can't really send Excelsius to people. You can only tell them, here are a couple of the dashboards that we've created. One of the ways we do is create a flash file and put it on a web page. So executives would normally go and have a look at the file over there itself. The other option is the Air widget. So a lot of you must have Windows Vista or Windows 7, and you have these small widgets like clocks that you sit on your desktop. Similarly, you can have certain visualizations for business critical functions created as a widget which sits on the desktop. So if I'm a finance manager, I just need to know how much cash I have, liquid cash I have within my organization to work with, or working capital that I have. So I can make a small widget for him, for the finance manager, and give it to him. Just put it on your desktop. So any day when you look at your computer, you can see how things are going if something is going in red. The most commonly used options are PowerPoint or Outlook. Outlook is where the visualization gets embedded into an email and gets sent out to people. The way that helps is a lot of the data gets snapshotted at that point of time. So an executive who wants to do this on the fly but is not connected to a corporate environment or is just on a flight, he can actually look at his Outlook and he can look at the scenarios in there, and there are options within the dashboard by which he can save that scenario for a later point in time. So he has no data connectivity, but he still has the formulas and the data models to work with, and it's very intuitive. There is hardly any learning curve associated with using this. So that's why you would use Outlook. And PowerPoint slides are, say you have your quarterly meetings or your annual meetings or your monthly meetings, and there's certain set of reports or a certain set of graphs that you will be using every single time. So once you make a data visualization out of it, you can just send it to a PowerPoint slide, and the data this time is going to be actually connected to the database in real time. It's pulling data every time you look at it, and once that happens, so if you open that presentation in the month of July, it will just pull the data for July and show it to you. So again, that's cutting a lot of effort that people have to do on a repeatable and a regular basis. They just have a single PowerPoint deck with all the slides changing and modifying as and when the data updates. Most of these reports are going to be run against a data warehouse or a business warehouse, and so you have a bit of latency. You have like a day or two latency creeping in, but once you talk to Jyoti about Hana and once he explains that, we can drop this latency down to minutes or hours depending on what needs to be done. So these are the export options that you'll be looking at. The common ones, again, are Outlook, PowerPoint, and in very few cases, the PDF. And mostly used is the Swift format, and it just gets posted onto a portal or the Launchpad that I'll talk about.
Sure.
So that's your...
One point, actually.
Mm-hmm.
This also, it's an enabling media for a user to come and take a look at the dashboard, what we built, correct? How do we take to the users? Right? You're building this dashboard by using the dashboard designer, correct? Now, how do we take to the user? That's when these tools are coming. So the point what I would like to add, now if you notice, the another hottest area within SAP mobile, right? So how do we take this in terms of accessing from a handheld device? It could be an iPad or it could be any handheld phone or a device. So how do we access? So once we publish this SWF file, then he could easily able to pull them into any handheld device. So that is also one of the interesting hottest area right now, taking all these executive dashboards and reports, accessing through a handheld device, something that now industry is really looking very closely. Okay, there are products. Sybase Unwind is one of the products, and there are other products in the market which is going to let you do that one. But consider that in your learning file, right? So if you want to go into space, also consider learning a little bit about how do we enable this accessing via mobile devices. Okay, sorry, go ahead. What is this, Manoj?
Okay, this is just a quick sales report, what Jyoti was talking about. Now, you can't really open a spreadsheet on a cell phone, but you can open something like this, which is a pie chart on a phone, and then you can click through certain things and see how the graphs change or what are the drill downs on the certain things. So these kind of reports are very good for a portable device where you can visually see. It doesn't have a lot of data in it, but it has what is needed for the person to do, what the person needs to monitor. It can do a bit of drill down. So executives would be using this on their cell phone just to see what is happening, or alternately they can have something like a globe which sits on their desktop, which just shows them, okay, I have my production in India and China, which are in red, but all the other countries are yellow or green. So it gives a quick snapshot of how his function or his business is doing. It just gives him and tells him what needs to be done and what he needs to concentrate on. So in this case, he would run a report for India, or he would actually go over to the pie chart for India and look at, okay, what is happening, what was changed, and what needs to be affected to get the details to work the way it's supposed to. He knows exactly what to concentrate on and which will give him the highest number of returns and what is more critical to his function. as a whole. He doesn't have to scan through pages and pages of reports to find out what exactly is happening. And this happens on a mobile device too, because of the way we render it.
Yeah. So if you go on the top where it says the file extension .swf, okay. So that's the point I was trying to say. Like, so those files you can access through directly a handheld device. When it's directly, there are some level of effort required, but it's not too big because it's already been formatted, it's already been structured, so it's easy to access. Anyway, so Manoj, can you go back to the data and then just spend 2 minutes on like different sources from where they can pull the data? It's not just only an Excel file. So there are different options through which you could pull data to create these dashboards.
Okay, sure. So within Excel, you have the data manager or the data connection manager. Again, as I said before, the names have been changed. A lot of people in the industry still keep using Excelsius, but currently it is known as dashboard design because they want slowly but surely move away from a dependency of using Excel or any other product. They want a product to be a standalone thing in itself, and that's the way SAP has it slowly but surely moving. Every new version of Excelsius or dashboard design is going to have more and more features common to the standard SAP background, standard SAP monikers and names being used. Here you see a data manager, and you have a bunch of places from which you pull in data. Live Office connection is normally used. So when the tool came into existence, there were two major ways of connecting to data. One was looking at existing reports and pulling the report and publishing only the visualization on top of it. So that was one of the reasons why you use Live Office connection, where you might have a huge Excel spreadsheet or multi-tab, 20-tab Excel spreadsheet, and people want to just look at the summary on a cell phone. So you use Live Office connection to connect to these kind of data sources in Excel. Another format is Crystal, because it has been there forever, and you still want to pull the data from Crystal. So again, you use Live Office connection. This connection is normally used when you want a snapshot of a data. So anything which is already published and needs to be used in a data visualization, you use a Live Office connector. XML maps or any kind of XML data can be used. So if you're looking at Twitter or if you're looking at any social media which has an RSS feed or an XML feed, you can have data visualization running against it. So a scenario where this would be used is sentiment analysis. You might have software running in the background which tells you that most of your customers feel happy, sad, glad, or frustrated. And based on that, all the data comes in the form of an XML from a web page. And you can use Excelsius to run visualization against that, and you will have indicators. So for a marketing manager, he would look at the data. I would say, okay, 50% of my customers are happy. Some of them are in doubt, but I have these 10% who are in red who seem to be growing to 12%, 15% over the past 2 months. So that's what I need to work with, and he will talk to his campaign managers and get things done. So that's one of the reasons why he'll use XML data. NetWeaver BW and is a standard scenario where you would actually put this visualization into the portal scenario, into your NetWeaver portal, and you can publish the Swift file. This is connected to the BW, and it will be pulling data directly from the BW. So you're getting around not using universes, not using connectors in the middle like Live Office or Excel maps or anything like that. It's directly connecting to a BW source. The other set of data, other places that you normally use this or connectors that you use are portal data, which is on certain tabs of a in a portal, you have a certain drill down already available, and the visualization or the Swift file needs to update based on which tab you're viewing the visualization from. So that's one of the reasons why you'll use the portal connector. Some of these connectors are hardly ever used, like the LCDS connector. This is an ad, because we're working with Flash, which is an Adobe product. Adobe also had another form of data connector to their SDK, and I've hardly ever seen LCDS being used, but there you might end up in a scenario where they want to use it. Most often you use XML maps or Live Office or like a connection query as a web service, which you'll connect to a universe. You give the universe credentials and you'll see all the values come in here, and based on that you can pull the data and visualize it. So that's a quick look at different data connections that you can do.
Yeah, that's fine, Manoj. So the point here is dashboard. I keep saying Excelsior, sorry. Dashboard Designer, it's not just only using the data source as an Excel file. It can pull data from anywhere, okay? Whatever they listed here, it can pull from all the different sources, okay? So the advantage of in an SAP landscape, if your data already sitting in SAP BW, how do we visually analyze the data? Or how do we create something that an executive can access through a handheld device, okay? So those are the hottest area right now, okay? Because the cube has been built, the report has been built, there are so many things that's already been there, correct? But I don't want to go and run around through an SAP GUI, okay? I want something to be seen in my handheld device. I want something to be seen as a PDF file, or I want to see something in a visual form. Okay, so that is when these tools are coming into picture, and that's when these tools have become very vital. And these are another area where industry really focusing more into. Okay, so industry is really focusing more into bringing all these things accessing via handheld device. Okay, so here take a look. Different sources are going to be dealing, and in our course we are also going to touch SAP BW. We are going to touch file and other sources. Okay, so we can't teach everything. Then we have to learn this for 1 year. So we will cover whatever required for you to connect and get an idea how it works. Then later you can figure this out. The most important, you should know how to use Excel, web services, and the SAP BW connectors. Okay, maybe some extra Crystal. How do we take an existing Crystal report and use it as a dashboard and build as a dashboard? So those things will be taught in the class. Move on, Manoj.
Okay. So coming back to the small curve, you saw a bunch of parameterized reports being discussed, and we talked about very few instances of the times that it is used. The dashboard actually will sit here because it doesn't have a lot of customization. It has a few customization, and it takes parameters on which month is the data for, or what tab are we looking at it from. Just to quickly summarize, the dashboard is normally used by the executives and the managers. The analysts can't really do a lot with the visualization, and so they normally tend not to use it. So, we spoke about history, we spoke about the branding. Oh yeah, this is one thing I forgot to actually mention, which was drag and drop features. A lot of the things that you see, the visualizations that you see, are components which you can literally drag and drop it onto the canvas and it will get visualized. We just need to map these components. So in here you did see, I'm just going to quickly give you an overview of what kind of components you have. So you have a bunch of tabs which you created, you have images you created, and you can always drag and drop these things. It is very easy to learn, and once you learn it, very easy to use. So suppose I want to use a pie chart, I can literally drag and drop a pie chart. It will put it over there, and then I can connect these things to the data. The whole thing is about modeling and how you model the data, and there are certain scenarios you would use where you hide things and you display things. So just getting a prototype is a very good and very easy thing within Excelsior. So if you're talking to someone who needs a dashboard, who has come back and said that, okay, I want to just have visual alerts, and you say, okay, why do you need visual alerts? So these are my certain businesses that can go in red or green, and I need to know that. So then you show him a small portion of Excelsior and say, okay, there are a couple of things that we could do with the data that you have. Would you like to see a pie chart or a bar chart? And similarly, when you start talking to them, they say, yes, can I have a pie of so-and-so thing, a bar chart of so-and-so thing on the right? So you can immediately prototype while you're talking to him and get something done if you are having that kind of a session. The normal scenario is you normally take a piece of paper and literally draw these things on a piece of paper while you're in the meeting, because you can't really use this tool. It would be very disruptive to the whole scenario. So you draw it on a piece of paper, but as soon as you get back to your desk, you create a visualization, at least a schema of visualization, which looks like how it would look like and how the look and feel would be. And then you email it out to the person saying, hey, can you confirm that this is what we talked about, this is what you want to work with? So it helps with rapid prototyping. You can quickly do a prototype. There is a whole lot of processes which go after that for getting the data and making it work the way it's supposed to. But initial start, we at least have a good sign-off from whoever we're working with to understand that what he wants and this is what he's going to get, so we can set up expectations similarly. embeddable in different softwares. As I said, there was a Splash file, so you can put it on a portal, or you can put it in a Crystal report or PowerPoint, and we already spoke about this. And that's pretty much what you have for dashboard design. Finally, we will be talking about web intelligence report. So let me just pull up a web intelligence report for you.
Understand the difference, right? It's very, very important, right? Like now, so just don't just look at, these are all just tools, right? So what you can look at, what you looked at in Crystal, what you looked at in Dashboard Designer, what you're going to look at in Webby. So if you look at Crystal, where it talked about rows and columns and headers and footers and pages and etc. But when you went to Dashboard, there's nothing like that, correct? There's no header, there's no footer, there's no page, there's nothing, correct? Just like, on the fly you design and then do it, correct? It's a different way of looking at the data. Data is data, correct? So as we talked about it, so Crystal report, like for example, most of us filed INS petition, correct? When you filed an INS petition, the INS sends back your legal document. Such legal document where it strictly follows certain amount of columns and rows and headers and footers has to be followed consistently. So for that, you use Crystal report. It's a structured formatted report. When you look at dashboards, that's more of an executive view, correct? A company executive who wanted to see the company's performance in terms of dashboards, want to analyze them in terms of dashboards. Now what we are looking at, not these two, it's a different one. That's a web intelligence, correct? It is not a structured format report. It is not a dashboard for an executive. Now we are looking at a web intelligence, which is more of an analysis tool. How do we analyze my business, okay? How do I see, who's the top selling product? Who's the best customer? What's the product's not selling, correct? How do you analyze this one much deeper to get to know more insights, okay, on the fly? So now he's going to talk more about web intelligence.
Okay, so when you come to web intelligence, coming back to our old curve, let's start off from here. We're looking at custom reports which have a very specific scenario that we're looking at, very, very specific thing. It is accessed a very few number of times, but it has a lot of customizations, very unique. So that's one of the scenarios where you would be using Webby. Webby would actually sit in this whole section here. We can also do parameterized reports with Webby, but again, you lose a lot of formatting in Webby. You just get a lot of raw data, which analysts love, what with executives or managers don't love. So they normally stick with static reports or they stick with dashboards. But the analysts would actually be using custom reports and Webby reports. So as we just summarized, from the usage point of view, the Webby sits right in the middle between a bit of the management, bit of the analyst. You have managers who want to work with raw data just to figure out how things are working and how he can improve or things that need to be done. So Webby sits in a nice sweet spot between the management and the analyst. Analysts a lot of times can create a Webby report and send that link to the management, and they can quickly go through the Webby report, which have analysis on certain trends, on certain things which have been done. Interactivity-wise, it's not very static as Crystal reports. It is sort of dynamic because you can, as Paul said, right-click on a certain table and convert that into a pie or a bar chart. So there is a bit of interactivity in it, but it's not the most dynamic in the tool in the quiver. So coming to Webby, what are the different things that you would talk about? So one of the things we saw while looking at Universe is we have tables. We have tables with like gigs and gigs of data, rows of data, and Webby can actually sit on top of Universe. It is one of the primary ways you access a Universe. You connect to a data source and pull the data source, high volumes of data source, and you can slice and dice it. I'll show you how exactly it's done. We'll talk about it in details, and we can also define certain things. So suppose if someone clicks on a sale within a shop, and if they click or choose an option like drill up, it should drill up to the region level, and then it should drill up to the state level, and then the country level, and so on and so forth. So from an analyst perspective, he wants to know why a certain thing is red. He'll actually click on something and will drill down to a next level or layer of data or more granular data. So that's one of the biggest selling points of Webby. We can do slice and dice of data in a very intuitive fashion. It's repeatable, shareable online and offline. So you can send this link to your manager. You can export it as there are certain formats in which you can export Excel Webby reports like PDFs and stuff, but there are also internal formats which can be opened in a browser. We'll talk about that more in detail during class. Consolidation of heterogeneous data sources. So one of the things you see in a enterprise environment is a lot of people have Hyperion sitting in their environment. They have Oracle databases sitting in the environment. They have SAP. They have PeopleSoft. And the end user actually wants to look at one single report, which shows him pieces of all these different data sources. One of the things you'll do is use Crystal Report because it can connect to every single thing that you have in there. But the other way, you want to show these things in a portal and you want some interactivity in it, so you would use Web Intelligence Report to do that. We will talk about how different connections work, how we can pull the data in different ways and get it done. We can have Web Intelligence reports from flat files, Excel files, or we can have it from a universe or more data sources. There is some bottleneck here where you have to actually look at how the data is formatted, and you might have to pass it through a universe formatted the way Webby can handle, and then use a Webby report on top of it. So again, we will talk about this in detail when we come up to that session. Self-service access. So I'm going to show you a Webby report right now, and we'll talk about the self-service aspect of it. But high data volumes has already been what we covered without the slice and dice or a refined format. A refined format would be when I send a link to someone, and when he forwards a link to another manager, the data that the manager looks at can pull up specific to his login credentials. So I'm a controller for a certain country, and I'm sending the link to Italy, the controller for Italy. When he clicks on the link, he will not see the U.S. data. He will only see the Italian data, what he's supposed to. So it can be refined in that format, and we can actually take control of that. So let's take a quick look at how the Webby report looks, and we'll talk about the self-service aspect when I'm going through it. So one of the good things about using Webby is you have a rich client which sits on your computer, and you can do changes to it, and then when you're comfortable sharing the data, you can post it on the portal. Or you can always go to the Launchpad, the BI Launchpad that we had talked about or shown earlier, where you can run the same kind of report. Apparently my session's expired, but you can see in the background that it's already there. You have the data, exactly what you see on my machine here. Give me 1 minute, I'll get back to the point.
So basically the message is, how do I launch this Web Intelligence? There are two access paths. One is you could access them via web on the browser, which is the BI Launchpad. Let's say you don't want to access them on the browser. If you want a native client, okay, that's a rich client. That means like how you're accessing SAP through a GUI, you can access them through a GUI, okay. So these are the two different options. The one that what Manoj first showed, the rich client, which is a desktop application, which has to be installed in your desktop. Once it's installed, then you can access Webby, where you could design a report or build a query, or you could even open an existing report. You could do all such things. Let's say you don't want to install any web-based, you don't want to install any client on your desktop. You want to access them through a web. How do I access? That's what the Launchpad does. The Launchpad letting you to access either an existing report or create a new report or a query by using the Launchpad on the web. You see at the top where it says the localhost :8080/BOE/BI. So that's basically the URL. It's a web-based request. It's not a desktop application where something has to be installed on the desktop.
So one of the important things about that is there are a lot of scenarios in which you have certain number of licenses for a client, and then you can't really provide very rich client for every person who comes in. You have contractors coming on board, and a lot of people are clients who are just going to be there for a short duration of time. So you don't really want to spend a lot of time installing things on the computer and then showing them how to use it. Most of the time what you have is within the home page itself, we have links to these places which just says reports, and then you can go in here and Launchpad, and you can actually go in and search for a certain name of the report, like a sales report, and it will show you a Webby version of the sales report. So they can actually work with it over here, but you have additional features or more usability when you're designing a report using a rich client. as it is with most designers. So even for Crystal Report, you have an option to show it in the browser, and you can do a certain set of things, but you cannot design things over in the browser. You have to use the rich client or the desktop client. So once the screen refreshes, I can show you what I meant by its self-service. So if I'm, as a user, looking at this report and I want to see what exactly is going behind it, I can click on data sources and I can pull in data as and when required.
So Manoj, let's target to complete within the next 5 minutes, okay? Then I need to take over.
Okay, all right. So just like what we saw in Excelsius, where we could drag and drop components onto the main area and it would get visualized. Here we could drag and drop data components. I'm having issues here, but normally you have a whole list of data items here. You can literally drag and drop it onto a chart, and it will chart the data on the fly right there and then. You can also have lots of data in spreadsheets where you can convert these into spreadsheets and work with it. So we'll be talking about that when we talk about Webby. So that is one of the scenarios where you would use Webby to do a lot of slice and dice on the fly and display the data to a lot of analysts. One of the most important things that Webby does is, because it has a drill down capability, you can normally click on certain things and it will drill it down to the next level of data. So, okay, if the computer behaves, I can actually show that to you, where you can just drill down to another level of data and so on and so forth. But it doesn't seem to be behaving, but let me just quickly talk to those points. When you click on a certain, so on your screen right now, you have accessories, skirts, and trousers. So suppose you click on trousers, it will actually pull up. Okay, I'm just going to stick with the browser. Let me try and do it here. So you have right on the toolbar, you can see different options like drill and filter by. So you can modify the way the data behaves and what is going in there and how it gets visualized. So that is one of the things why you would use Webby. So quickly to summarize, we would use Webby because we need items to be shown with a lot of granular data. All right. So we would talk about a lot of data volumes getting summarized. So because it's sitting on top of a universe, it will leverage all the calculations within a universe and show you a smaller data set, which can actually be drilled down and slice and dice according to your requirements. So analysts would normally use it. It's primarily targeted to analysts and to some of the managers. You also have analysis, which is right now, which is getting slowly but surely integrated into Webby and other components. So over a period of time, you'll see these things. So you had, earlier you had things like OLAP reports, and you had Voyager, which got changed to Pioneer, which now got changed to Analysis. They already are there in the landscape, but for our purposes, if we use these three tools, we can emulate everything that we have within Analysis in here, and we will still be able to be successful. So we'll be totally set for success if you finish this portion, these three things and these three tools. So that's what we have for Webby. Jyoti, did you want to do anything else?
Okay, no, that's fine. I'll take it actually. Thank you.
Okay.
Actually, thanks, Manoj.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see where I am. Hold on. I'm not seeing myself. Yes. So I'm going to take it over. I'm running late. I have another commitment. I have a call coming in. Actually, I need to join the call. That's from my work. I cannot say no to the call. It's 10:30, but I need to prepare for the call. So I don't think I can cover Hana within that time. And I do need to cover two other topics, which I'm going to postpone to the next class. But I want to cover a few logistics before we move on. So the other two topics I was supposed to cover, I was planning to cover, one is SAP Hana, okay? And where SAP Vivo fits in SAP product of family. Okay, product assembly, where this fits into. Okay, the last one is advanced analytics. Okay, advanced analytics. So these topics I wanted to cover, but I don't think I have time. I told you, like, I have another call at 10:30. I need to jump in, but I have to get ready for that call. I need to do some groundwork. So this I will cover as a first topic in the next class. This is not part of the course. This is just a foundation. Okay. So I will cover this in the next class. Okay. I will cover this in the next class. In the next class as a foundation. Okay. As a foundation. So before I go to any other topic, I want to cover this in the next class as a foundation. Let's spend some time, okay, maybe another 5-10 minutes to cover some logistics. Okay. All right. Now, how does the course is going to work? Okay. Let's understand this. So the way it is structured, if you notice, since morning, if you notice, we always start with a business problem. Okay. We always start with a business problem. Business problem. Understand the business problem. Okay. Business problem. What kind of problem you are solving? Okay. Understand the business problem. All right. So once we understood what the business problems, okay, once we understood what the business problem, then we can go to the next stage. So which is nothing but like we can build models out of it. So the next step is, once you know the business problem, then take this problem into the next step, which is nothing but how do I basically design this one? Okay. So from business problem, we move on to the next step, which is going to be the design part. Okay, which is going to be the design part. So in the design, what you learn designing about data, which is the needs of the data. Okay. So here we are going to design all the things which is required. Okay. Whatever required. So this includes designing data. This includes, one second. Somehow my laptop is not comfortable to me. 1 second. So this includes, okay, designing all the different parts which is required. Okay. That covers data, universe, reports, everything. Okay. Okay, it's funny. It's not coming well. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this design portion is going to cover very much whatever we need to build. Okay, so here we are talking about data related. Okay, this is the ETL part. Okay, the ETL side. All right, again, we are not going to go so deep. Okay, that's a different course. Then we will be understanding universe. Okay, universe design. Then we will be understanding the report or dashboard, whatever you call. Report, analysis, or dashboards. Okay. So design side. So how do we design these things? Okay. This design part we are going to focus on. Okay. This design part we are going to focus on. So that's the design side. Once we're done, then we are going to move on to the build part. Okay. Once we're done, then we are going to move on to the build part. In the build, what are we going to build? Okay, so this is when the tools are going to come into picture. Okay, in the build, so we are going to focus on all the tools that is going to be built. Okay, so here we are talking about number 1, as you notice. Okay, so Crystal. Okay, so in the build, we are going to use Crystal. Okay, Crystal is one of the tools. Crystal. Then we are going to use Webby. Okay, then we are going to use Webby. Then we are going to use Excelsior or the dashboard. Okay, Excelsior or dashboard. Okay, dashboard. Okay, dashboard. So how do we take to this the user? This from the build point of view, right? So once we build this one, so how do we take to the user? Okay, you can take to the user by using the tools such as BA Launchpad. Okay, the next is user access. So how do we take to the user? The Launchpad. Okay, BA Launchpad. So it's an end-to-end course. Okay, Launchpad, BA Launchpad. So here we are dealing with data services, right? So we are dealing with the data services. Okay, so data services. So in this course, if you notice, this is what you learn. Okay, this is what you learn. You will understand the business problem. You know how to design all these things, right? So you know how to design all these things. Once you've done the design, then you can go to the build process. In the build, you will learn these things. Once you've done the build, then how do we deploy this one? Okay, that's the next phase, is deployment. Okay, how do we deploy this one? That's the next phase. Okay, so problem to design, design to build, and build to deployment. Right? So problem to design, design to build, build to deployment. So this whole life cycle you will learn. Okay, this whole life cycle you will learn. 1 second. Okay. So the life cycle that what you learn, this is what it is. Right? So these are that exactly you learn. So business problem, from there we should know how to design, okay, and then we also need to go to build. From the build equal to deployment, okay. So this is basically the whole course is going to cover, okay. The whole course is going to follow this approach. So if we don't have this level of expertise, again, I'm repeating, it's very hard to survive in the market, okay. Industry is looking for someone who can do this work, okay. Industry is looking for someone who can do this work. They're not looking for tool guys, okay. They're not looking for tool guys. All right. Now, how this is going to be delivered? Okay, so there are multiple people you have seen, okay? So how this is going to deliver? So we have 4 different people, okay? You may have seen Meena. In the course content, we put a name, Meena. So she's a CPA, okay? She's a chartered accountant from India. She's also a CPA person, okay? Then you have seen Paul, okay? You have seen Manoj, okay? I call him Max. Then me, okay? So these are the 4 people will be involved. So Meena comes primarily from the problem side, business side, okay, from the business side. So she is more into the finance and business, okay, finance and business. So she handles the finance and business. Paul, more of a technical implementation infrastructure, okay, technical and infrastructure, okay, technical and infrastructure. So he focus more on the technical infrastructure, okay, technical infrastructure, okay. So technical infrastructure. Hold on, I'm running late. Technical and infrastructure, right? So if we have any problem in terms of lab, in terms of setting up systems and all, right? So he is going to deal this one, okay? He is going to deal on this one. So anything on the technical infrastructure, Paul is the prime point of contact. Manoj on the front end, okay? Manoj on the front end tool, okay? On the front end tools. So the front end tools will be Manoj. Me, overall delivery, okay? Overall delivery. So I don't have time, as I told you. I have another class on Sunday, and I have a full-time job. It's very hard for me to do. So the overall delivery is going to be me. Okay. So overall, I will be involved in this one. So point is, I just wanted to make sure you understand how this is going to work. Okay. So these are all different individuals who's playing a different role in this one. Okay. So different individuals, different roles are going to be played. Okay. So number 1, who's going to handle the problem side? Okay, that's Meena. She's a CPA. She's a finance person. She's going to focus on this one. Okay, all right. Number 2, who's going to take care of the infrastructure? There are so many tools you have seen, right? So many tools you have. So you have SAP BW. You have SAP ECC. Then you have Vivo. Within Vivo, there are so many tools, right? You have seen data services, right? You have seen Universe. Okay, so you have seen Universe. And you have seen like the front-end tools, right? There's so many extra tools. Somebody has to own and manage this one. So that's our friend, Mr. Paul. And who's going to focus more on the solution side, right? So that's on the Manoj side, right? So like, if I have to build something on the dashboard and report and everything, right? So that's basically Manoj is going to primarily focus on the solution side. I would say solution side. So he's going to focus on solutions. Who's going to actually connect all the dots? Okay, connecting all the dots. Connecting all the dots. So that's me. Connecting all the dots, that's me. So that I'm going to connect all the dots. So this is how we are planning to deliver this one. Okay, this is how we are planning to deliver this one. So all we need is at this time, okay, so I know who's been talking with me, who's been talking with Paul or Manoj or whoever. So you will get a system by this week. Okay, so you should have a system in place before we move on to anything. Without having system, it's very tough for you to follow. Okay, because these are all so many different tools. It takes some time to install and configure. So we need to have system in place. So you will have all the systems, whatever you looked at today. You will have access to data services. You will have the complete Vivo access. Okay, so you will have access to the complete Vivo. Okay, so you will have access to Vivo. Okay, you will have access to the Vivo 4.0 suite. Okay, 4.0 suite. So you will have access to this one. Okay. So this needs to be installed and configured. So that's something that's going to happen before the next class. Before the class, we should have access to this one. So once we have access, it will be easy to follow. Okay. So the next class, I'm going to start myself 2 things. And I tell the next class. Okay. In the next class, so this is how the delivery is going to happen. In the next class, what we are going to focus on, we are going to focus on Hana. Okay. In the next class, the 3 topics that I already covered here is going to be the starting point. Once I'm done, then I'm going to hand out to Meena. She's going to walk you through all the financials, right? So look at it, right? So we looked at a financial statement, right? So we looked at a financial statement. So this financial statement, we need to understand what the business drives, right? We cannot directly jump in. We cannot directly, we need to do the groundwork, right? So when you look at the financial statement, then we need to understand, okay, next class is going to be in this order, okay, next class. So next class is going to be in this order. So I'm going to focus on some time to cover whatever questions people may have about HANA, and where Vivo fits into the entire SAP product family, and what are the different advanced analytics that we need to know. Okay, so that's basically, these are all, I would say, foundation. Okay, this is the foundation. These are all foundation. So these are all foundations, not part of a core course. Okay, this is the foundation. Okay, this is foundation. This is core. Okay, this is the core. So this is something we start from here. So by looking at this one, I understand it's a balance sheet. Okay, so now I need to know business drivers. Okay, business drivers. What drives business this one? How to read this one? Okay, not just sitting and reading about, like, see, we look at, like, it says current assets. I need to know accounting point of view, finance point of view, what it means, right? So those are all I need to know. Okay, I need to know the basics about, like, certain financial statements, right? So how to read it? Okay, how to read it, and what structure it looks like. Okay, what structure it looks like. Okay, it looks like calculation. Okay, what calculations involved and what formulas involved. Okay, so all of them we need to know from the business point of view why that's what we are going to do. Okay, so this is basically the foundation which is going to be covered by Meena in the next class. So the next class is going to focus on this week, right? So I'll be spending some time to talk about HANA, Vivo, Advanced Analytics. Okay, once we're done, then we are going to directly jump into business needs. Okay, business needs or business drivers. Okay, business drivers for this course. Okay. All right. So this is basically what I want to cover. I'm sorry I couldn't spend some time with you to complete HANA and other topics which I was planning. So anyway, we will have this in the next class. And if you have any questions, reach out to me or mail me, send an email, whatever, we can talk. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for joining. And again, we are all looking forward to working with you. This is not a course where you have seen anywhere in the world. Okay. This is not a course where you have seen anywhere in the world. I'm repeating. I can challenge you. Right? You can see courses where people just teach you the tool or just some part of the tool. Okay? Not an end-to-end solution. Okay? So we need to know if the problem is, okay, analyze the data. Okay? Analyze the data where I have a lot more insights about certain business functions. Correct? It could be sales function, it could be human resource function, it could be supply chain function. So that is the problem. How do we design? How do we build? And how do we deploy? Correct? So we cover end-to-end all aspects. We are serious if you are serious. If you are not serious, this is not going to work. Okay? It's a waste of your time, my time, everyone's time. So we are extremely serious on what we do. If you are serious, move forward, we'll make it happen. If it is not, think through, take your time, let us know. Thank you very much for joining. Take care. Bye-bye.